Hello there, my name is Valerie White-Williams, and today I am talking about past lives, or are there current lives? So as you know, I attended the Washington Psychic Institute in Seattle during the 80s, and I was in the clairvoyant program. And one of the things that we did in the clairvoyant program is that we did what we call a rose reading. And a rose reading is basically, they like to use the rose as a symbol of how you're opening up to the God of your heart, how open you are. And so we look at the rose and seeing where that rose is in relationship to the God of your heart, which is the spiritual sun within your heart. And then also they'd look at some other things like, you know, children you may have, or stems, or how connected you are to your body. But we would always look for 3 lives that were integrating to us at this time. So that was kind of an interesting thing. So when I was in that program, I actually did readings 3 days a week for over a year and a half. So many people would come in. We'd have people coming in all the time to get readings from the students, because we were students, and we usually did readings in a group. So there was the head reader, there were also side readers, and then sometimes there was what we call an energy control that just stood in the back of the room and just kept the energy in light. And they did energy work to keep things. So sometimes readings could get really intense, and because you never know what's going to come up in a reading. And it's actually, the reading is in the driver's seat is the readee, because the readee sets the tone. So when you do a psychic reading, you're not telling people what to do or telling them. The readers have meditated for half an hour, and we usually keep our eyes closed, and we are trained to see the pictures that we can see in the aura of the readee. So it was really an interesting experience, and I'm so grateful I had it, because now in the kingdom of lies, where there's so many liars and people believe them because they don't have that information, they take things on face value, and they're not trained to see what's behind the mask, the fake mask. Oh yes, everything is wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who smiles when they're talking about tragedy or people dying? No. Okay, so I'm getting a little off track, but I want to talk about the past life things. And oftentimes when we were doing readings, we also did aura readings. We looked at the different layers of the chakras, and sometimes past lives would come up too. Now, it takes training to recognize these things, because we're all been taught to, like, oh, that's just my imagination. Oh, I'm just imagining it. And so that was a lot of the training, is to trust what comes to you. It's not coming from us, it's coming from the reader, or the readee, I mean. So with the past lives, it was really interesting, because here's the deal. Is it past lives or is it current lives? Because we are individual, we have a soul, but we are, parts of our soul is having experiences in different times and places. I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of spiritual traditions have talked about that. So when it comes to past lives, yes, we are doing things on other dimensional timelines. That's kind of the current thing now. We have timelines, different timelines. And so our souls are doing lots of experience. Our soul is much bigger than our body it can contain. There's too much soul for one body to contain. So we do have little splinter selves doing different experiences. Could be on Earth at this time, they could be off planet at this time, and it also could be in other timelines going through history, because the reality is time is an illusion. I know that's hard to think about too, because we are living in such structured kind of jail on planet Earth right now, because this is not how we're supposed to live, really isn't. And so, but more we can go inward and experience these things. Now, oftentimes we tune into various timelines of ourself in our dream state. And then you'll have an experience where you're in a different body. You might be a man if you're a woman, or a woman you're a man. You might be wearing clothes that you don't recognize. I remember when I was training there once, when I was in the CDM training program, Washington Psychic Institute, I had a dream that I was a cowboy, and I died because I was in a stampede. And I'm like, wow, where did that come from? It was just this thing. And when I was a student, we'd often, if we didn't have any volunteer people that we're going to read, students would read each other. And I remember I had a really intense reading at one time early on, and basically they said that I was burned at the stake. And when they said that, I felt this electric charge come through my body. It was really real. My body remembered that. And it makes sense, you know, because yeah, I'm that person. And it, you know, we know the witches weren't really witches, but they were people that were against what authorities wanted, which is kind of like now. So, you know, it does put a chill in you. You know, rebels and people who weren't not agreeing with whatever experts were telling them have always been written off. So when you think of past lives, they are probably not past as much as current, because pieces of us can have experiences in different timelines and also on other planets. Now, there are a lot of people, I can't remember, it's like QHT, it was, what's her name? Dorothy. I think her name is Dorothy. She created this reading sequence where you can tune in to your past and present lives. And some people have memories when they get into this trance of not even having a real type of body. It's kind of some other energetic thing that they remember, or they're working on other sides of the planet or other planetary systems. You know, I had a dream once that I was going to talk at a council of planets. Was that me, or was that another part of me doing the same thing? Because your soul, you have like an oversoul, and then you have all these splinter souls, and we're on the same page, having experiences for the totality. So it's interesting. Now, when we did read the past lives, that's because that was the 80s. I think spirituality has grown to accept a more overview of these things, because when we're in our body, we can't really think about it because we're so locked into the physical. But when you meditate and you can train, you can start opening up to these things and opening up to the timelines and the soul splinters around you, because we're all one. But when we did look at those past lives, there was a lesson from one of them. There's a lesson from this. I remember I did a reading with a woman who actually, she didn't tell me what she did at first. And I went to her house and I did a reading for her. And one of the past lives is that she was helping people escape from, it was maybe the Underground Railroad, or helping them get away, something like that, and get to safety. And then she had some other dreams that were similar. And after, I didn't know anything about her. And then after we had the reading, she was really moved because she worked for the CPS, and this was like in the 90s. And she was involved with helping kids get out of their abusive homes. And so it really resonated with her because, again, these themes will show up again and again with your lives. And so it's pretty amazing that, and eventually we're going to go, oh, I get the totality. Now, usually when you pass away, you'll go, oh, I get it. Everything's there. And then when you go into the body, because the body's vibration is so heavy and so all-encompassing, especially now when we're all in this fear and paranoia everywhere, it really locks us down to keep us from our spirituality. And that's probably part of the plan, because when we are in the power of our spiritual essence and all our spiritual gifts, which are kind of locked down as well, when we open those up, things are going to change, because we have so much more abilities, psychic abilities, spiritual abilities, just like some of the Indian mystics. Many of them have been training for years, and they have skills that we think are super magical, like bipolar traveling and levitating and not eating. And that's been going on in India and Tibet and those places for decades. So it's not unattainable, but it's not a focus of our culture, especially now, because we're supposed to just be little robot people, controlled. So the way we cannot be controlled is to turn within. The answer is always turning within. And when you get psychic insight, don't go, that's my imagination, maybe I saw a TV show. No, take it in. Take it in and think about why you saw it. What is the message from that? And that includes your dreams too. When you dream you're in a different body or in a different place, that could be a message. So it's great to take a journal and keep track of those things. Don't discount it. We need all hands on deck right now to get through this actual spiritual war on the planet right now. And we need to go within and get our spiritual forces together and join with others. And we don't have to join with them physically. We can join with them energetically. So yeah, I'd love to hear about your past lives. Now, another thing is I know people who remember them. They come in their body and they know them. And a lot of children, there's lots of books written about that, and people that actually have gone to and found relatives that they remember. So it's a very fascinating subject, and I'm just barely scratching the surface, but I want to give you some information to just go forward and learn and trust what you get, because we are not robots and we are not going to have AI infested bodies. We are here to grow spiritually. There's two timelines. There's this technocratic AI, corporate control, unelected people. There's one timeline, that's what they want. And then there's this other timeline where humanity is going to come into this golden age, and we're going to understand spirituality and grow in our spiritual skills and understanding, and we're going to meet our cosmic brothers and sisters because they're waiting for us, but we need to get through this. All right, so let me know in the comments below what your experiences have been of past or current lives. I would love to hear about it and keep this discussion going. And I also want to let you know that I have a free group on Facebook called Creative Soul Alignment, and that's for people that are interested in spirituality and creativity. And we are all about that, because the more we create, the more we are practicing our spirituality, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to create a world that works for everybody. Keep that in mind. All right, take care. Bye.